Oh, hi everybody out there. This is a knives available tool. So if anybody finds this from Trade Me, this is where you want to be for knives available tool. And the first one I'm going to show is a neck knife. So this is the available neck knife that I have listed. This is a 2.5mm veg tan sheath. I do all the dyeing, hand stitching, everything else. All the work is done by myself, including I use Resolene on the inside of the sheath to protect the sheath. The knife can be worn either handle up or handle down, whatever your preference is. And this particular model has a high grind and a secondary bevel, so quite a utilitarian sort of model. The reason I put the holes in the handle is it's basically one model, and it does mean that although it's all hardened and tempered, these come out at 60 rock, I think, no, 59, 59.5. So it's far too hard to drill or whatever in the future, but that means the handle scales or cord can be put on it as an option. That can be done by myself, or it can be done later, and that's one of the options that's available. So that's this little fellow. And other options available for the neck knives. I can do the neck knife. This is the one on Trade Me, if that's what you're after. That's awesome. I can also do a kydex sheath. So this goes over the neck and pops out. This particular model is mine. This is actually the one I have. I've done for myself. But it's exactly the same knife and everything, apart from this one has a 26-degree Scandi bevel. These are all 3mm. So again, if it's more along the lines of bushcrafting you're wanting, then obviously I could do one with a Scandi bevel. And I do take, although I trundle along doing what I'm doing and selling what I make, which is what I like to do, I'm quite happy to take a commission. So I could do a neck knife with a Scandi grind and a leather sheath, or a kydex sheath, or both. So that's the sort of options available there. The second knife I have on for this one, I'm just going to do two on each of these so it's not too long and boring, is my Bushcraft model. Now this is a take on the stereotypical Bushcraft model that you find. Again, this is 3.5mm veg tan sheath. Again, all finished the same. All my edgings are done and hand stitched by myself. This particular model, this particular one I've got out, has a belt dangler, so it can be worn either on the belt, which comes in handy if you've got rucksack straps and things, or it can just be pulled out of the way, or the actual strap has 3 poppers. By removing the 3 poppers, the strap can then be removed. So you can just take the strap off and you're left then with just the loop hanging down. So that just pops down out of the way there if you're not wanting to use the loop at any time. Also, the holes at the bottom, and they're designed for if anybody wants to put cordage through, and it can be worn as a cross draw, which sometimes is, especially on cold areas, it's a handy way of doing it because you can keep the knife handy and just inside your clothes or whatever like that. So that's the general idea behind that. Or it's also just keeps it out of the way and keeps it there if you've got a pack on your back and gear on your belt, hunting gear on your belt. This is the quite a standard Bushcraft size, approximately 110 and 110 approximately. I do each one, although I do have a template. I don't stick rigidly to it, so it's all can be tweaked. Again, I can put more or less belly, more or less drop. This is quite a stereotypical size and everything. 26-degree Scandi. This is a 4mm with a full tang. I also do tapered tang, so that I can drop the taper down, just alters the balance of the knife depending on what you're wanting to do with it. Oh, actually no, this is a 3mm. That's why I didn't taper the tang. It's actually a 3mm stock is this one. I do apologise, I have to remember. This has brass and stainless loveless bolts and stainless tube, and say 26-degree bevel. And the handle scales are very old Swamp Ratter, stabilised by myself, and black G10 liners. So that's that knife. Now the options that have come with this one, obviously things like the angle. This is a 26-degree bevel. I can go a little bit. It can go 28, 30 if you want something a little bit tougher, or a little bit less if you do more carving. Different handle materials. You'd have to get in touch with me to find out what I've got in stock and available. Different pins and things like that. So all those are things that can be tweaked. Also, if it's somebody specific, if you have a much bigger handle than normal or smaller, I can tweak the sizes, and if you want in a slightly longer or shorter blade, again, all that can be catered for. And it all comes at the whatever, I'm not sure what this is on Trade Me at the minute, but with the dangler and everything else, that can all be, it'd be a similar price. It's not, I charge the same sort of price for whatever work I'm doing as to what I'm selling for. That's the price point I feel I'm at with the work that I'm turning out at the moment. So I think it's a fair price I'm asking for the work I'm turning out at the moment. But the other options are, this is one I'm actually making myself a new one. My Bushcraft knife's up there and it's about 20 years old, so I've decided to make myself a new one and try and have something to show people. But this is more of a standard sheath. I never wear a cross draw or anything, so I've actually done a much more of a standard sort of sheath. But again, I have put a dangler. I really like the danglers. They're brilliant when you're getting in and out of vehicles or around camp and things like that. They let the knife keep out of the way, don't dig into your side or anything like that. But again, obviously that can just be slid out of the way or taken off. But that's much more of just a standard deep pouch sheath. That's not been moulded yet, as you can see. But again, it's still, and it's also this. Although this has been burnished, it's not been edge coated and finished because I don't do that until they've been moulded and fitted. Another option is, this is a slightly different version of the knife, but again, some people like the ferrocerium rod holders on the side. Again, that's something that can be done, as you can see on this particular model. This was a prototype I did. As you can see, again, more of a standard type sheath with everything is finished the same. But again, a dangler. I just like the danglers on my Bushcraft knives. Hunting knives I don't always bother with. Just different ways, different horses for courses. So yeah, there's some of the possible options. So with that, I will sign off and thank you very much for watching, and catch you on the flip side.